It's one of the most picturesque areas of the country. And they put a racetrack right in the middle here in Northern California. Welcome to Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama and the Grand Prix of Monterey. Thanks for joining us today. Along with Jeremy Shaw, I'm Kevin Lee, and we are at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, one of the classic American road courses, and getting set for round number 14 of 16. Just one more weekend to go at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta after this one to decide the championship. We're south of San Francisco, well north of Los Angeles, in Salinas, California, very close to Monterey. And Jeremy, this is one of the great road courses in America. 11 turns. What are the key areas?
Well, it really is a fantastic racetrack. At the Andretti hairpin, that's the best place to make an overtaking maneuver on this very challenging and a track that's very hard on tires as well. Turn 6 is very, very fast. The infamous corkscrew at turn 8 and turn 8A, where the cars plunge the equivalent of over 5 stories in height, is just an incredible experience for these drivers. And then turn 11, the tight left-hander that leads on to the start-finish straight away.
And so many great places to watch the action from different locations around this beautiful facility here in Northern California. This is race number 2 of the weekend. Race number 1 yesterday afternoon. 20-year-old Max Root from San Diego started on the pole. He's been on the roll recently. He's won the last 2 races, trying to climb his way back in the championship. He had the early advantage, but Roman DeAngelis was able to eventually get him on lap number 1.
Yeah, superb move there by Roman DeAngelis heading into turn 5.
DeAngelis has won 9 of the 10 races this season, and these two would battle throughout the rest of the day. Root looking for win number 3, eventually is able to get his way around. Now the Masters class leader, Alan Metni, goes around. He's been dominant this season, so that keeps him out of the winner's circle in this particular round. Root maintained his control of the race, and he won by almost 8 seconds. 3 wins in a row to cut into that Roman DeAngelis championship lead a little bit, but DeAngelis still is able to finish seconds.
Yeah, what a tremendous end of the season for Maxwell Root. He's been knocking on that door of victory lane all season long, had a whole string of podium finishes, but finally made that breakthrough at Virginia International Raceway the last 2 races. He won on Saturday and then followed up on Sunday, and that was a brilliant drive yesterday. Absolutely beautifully controlled. He was fast, he was consistent, and he's on the pole position again for this afternoon's race.
DeAngelis still has a 55-point advantage in the Platinum class, the overall championship lead. And he is going to be starting up front. You'll see the starting grid there on the left side of your screen. But he's got a little work to do because he's behind Max Root, who's the pole sitter. And then young Riley Dickinson is going to start in the second position. Now, as far as the gold class is concerned in the Gold Cup, Sebastian Corrado won again yesterday with NGT Motorsport to extend his championship lead with a 4-second win over Rob Ferriel. 2 classes we're going to be talking about here today. Jeremy, explain the differences.
Yeah, the Platinum class there for the latest 991 bodied Porsche GT3 Cup car built over the last 3 years. The Gold Cup category, that's for the first generation 991 cars. So they were built from 2014 to 2016. The newer car, a little bit of a few aero updates, a few subtle tweaks here and there, a good bit more horsepower as well. That's always fun for the drivers.
Good luck at that I-Fly portion. Alan Metni, who's been dominating the championship this year. We mentioned overall in the Platinum class, 9 of the first 10 races went to Roman DeAngelis. There was a rain race. Parker Thompson won. What has changed for Max Root?
Yeah, he's just got that confidence. Finally, it's shone through, and he had that breakthrough at VIR, and he said, aha, I can do this. And he followed up with a win on Sunday there, and then yesterday's drive, it was just impeccable.
I talked with Max before race number 1. He felt pretty confident, but he said, you know what? It's still about who can manage the tires. You talk about the low grip. There are no pit stops. You got to make them last.
That's right. It's a 45-minute race, and you've got to make those tires last. It's cooler conditions. There's a little bit of overcast now, so it's much cooler than yesterday's race, which was really, really hot out here. So that is certainly going to help the wear rate of these Yokohama tires. But Maxwell Root, the qualifying order for this race was set according to the second fastest times during the qualifying session earlier in the weekend. So Maxwell Root, he put down 2 flyers, and that was good enough to get the pole for this race.
Jeff Kingsley in that Hertz black and gold car wants to win. He's finished second a couple of times. Max Root in the light blue, red, and white car, the pole sitter. Riley Dickinson, mostly white, is on the outside. The championship leader, DeAngelis, the inside of row number 2. It's go time for WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, climbing up the hill to the hairpin in turn number 2. Around the bend in 1. Root has the advantage to the inside. Dickinson trying to swing around the outside. DeAngelis will try to be able to get in the inside of Dickinson. It's a drag race for second as they exit 2, and then we've got a car turned around in the back.
That's Manuel Fine, one of the Masters contenders, who turns around the back with this battle for second place, side by side, headed up to turn 4. It's Riley Dickinson on the inside line, and the championship leader, Roman DeAngelis, on the outside. Is he going to make that stick? I think he is.
DeAngelis right around the outside, and there's the 42 of Bill Smith that stopped on track. And look at Root, has been able to scoot away just a little bit, and they're still side by side for second. DeAngelis is going to get the advantage, it appears.
Yeah, Riley Dickinson's kind of ushered off there towards the grass, I think, by Roman DeAngelis. That was a forceful move by Roman. He wanted to win yesterday. He wasn't able to get it done, and there's Maxwell off again in turn 6. That's going to cost him a lot of ground to these other contenders.
So that allowed Jeff Kingsley to move up into the 3rd position there in that black and gold car. Running in 5th position, Sean McAllister in another one of the black and gold cars, team cars for JDX Racing.
Yeah, and the pink car, the pink pig of the Puerto Rican driver, Victor Gomez IV, a former Gold Cup Series champion. He's had some very, very strong results recently, but he's looking to defend here. That's the number, I think it's Chris Bellomo, one of the Masters contenders, who's trying to make a move. No, actually, it was Riley Dickinson who's trying to make his move back up the field, having run off the road a couple of times on that lap. So a bad lap for Riley Dickinson. But look, he's just 16 years of age. Got an awful lot to learn.
From New Braunfels, Texas, he was winning karting championships just a couple of years ago. So this has been a big step over the last 2 years.
Yeah, he's 17 years old, in fact, but he's still a youngster. And you're right, though. Karting is all he's done before he moves into this Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. So, you know, this is, for a first season of car racing, to have this sort of level of car is pretty impressive. But to run at this sharp end of the field right away, yeah, the kid has some talent, no question about it. Once again, they're Metney a little bit tentative, I think, through turn 6, and that's allowed Dickinson an opportunity, perhaps, to get close and make a challenge into the corkscrew. But once again, Alan Metney, they're super late on the brakes, able to hang on to that position for now, at least.
That's for 5th overall. The veteran Masters class driver, and then the 17-year-old right behind him. The 2 white cars, the iFly car is Alan Metney. That's his company. That's very unique and great experience if you're interested in that. Dickinson will take a look around here. Did Metney run a little bit wide? Maintains the position for now, but here's a big run coming down the main straightaway.
Yeah, Metney's going to have to defend, I think, down here into turn 2. But no, once again, he's super late on the brakes. Really impressive for Alan Metney there. That iFly organization, yes, he started that. You know, he's a super competitive person. He was part of the US parachuting team in his younger days, and he used that experience to set up this iFly organization. So, you know, rather than jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, you can do your parachute training on the ground, or almost on the ground, in the kind of upside down wind tunnel. Is super cool.
And there iFly areas all over the country, and for those of us that aren't quite willing to jump out of an airplane, that's the alternative. And there's not quite the time commitment involved, that everything that goes along with securing an airplane and making sure the weather cooperates.
Indeed. If there's something wrong with the airplane, I can understand jumping out of it, but if other than that, no, I'm going to stay inside. Thank you very much indeed.
Not for me. Not for me.
But I tell you what, he's used that sort of experience that he's gained from that competitive element, and he's super serious about his motor racing, as Alan Metney, and he's made just enormous strides over the last few years. He's worked with a driver coach, Andrew Davis, and Andrew Davis is super proud of what Alan Metney has been able to achieve.
Roman DeAngelis in second, chasing down that red, white, and blue car, off-color blue of Max Root. There's third, and Kingsley chasing the pack down. Root, last year's IMSA Hurley Haywood GT3 scholarship recipient. And he's not out of the championship right now. He said, no way have I conceded. I know there's only 3 rounds remaining, and it's going to take some help, but he's doing all he can. He's won the last 3 rounds.
Well, that's right. It can take a lot of help because there's not that much of a differential between the points scored down the order, but it's certainly been a good season for Maxwell Root.
There's the Gold Cup leader, Victor Carazzo, from Puerto Rico at NGT Motorsport with Allied Car and Truck Rental sponsorship. He's got 9 Gold Cup wins so far this year. A 44-point advantage on Rob Ferriel coming in the Gold Cup Championship.
Yeah, and another young driver, just 21 years of age, Sebastian Corrado. He made his professional debut at Watkins Glen in this championship last season, and it was not an auspicious debut. Had a huge wreck in practice, wasn't even able to take part in the first race of the weekend because that MGT Motorsport team was busy repairing the car, and they had to take it several hours away from the racetrack to get that accomplished. But they came back, gave him a car on the Sunday, and had a good a good finish that day. And since then, though, he's made huge strides. And I'll tell you what, Sebastian Corrado, for somebody with such little racing experience, he's another guy who's come on super strong this year.
Max Root is expanding his advantage a little bit. It was about 0.8 seconds, then 1.2, up to 1.6 seconds as he continues to gap Roman DeAngelis. Look at that, another 4/10 picked up on that last lap for Max Root. And
yeah, we kind of saw that yesterday, particularly in the latter stages of the race. Maxwell Root was able to extend that advantage over Roman DeAngelis, and we'll have to see whether that will pan out again the same way this afternoon. There's still 35 minutes to go, so we're only 10 minutes into this race. A long, long way to go. But at the moment, it would appear that Maxwell Root once again is just stretching out that lead, and he seems to be driving that car as smoothly as he possibly can.
Max is from San Diego. He's friends with one of the young Canadians. I was talking with him on Friday. He said, I've kind of looked at Zachary Robichon's career as kind of a path. I asked him what he wanted to do next year, and he said returning to this series is certainly one of the options, but we're looking at some other areas too. Robichon won the Sprint Cup Championship as a driver in the WeatherTech Championship in the GTD class. Meanwhile, in the Gold Cup class, the 17 car of Kurt Swearengin just picked up a position to move up to 3rd. And he finished 3rd in the Gold Cup race yesterday. He is 3rd in that championship.
Yeah, and he's a nice little string of podium finishes, Kurt Swearengin, recently. So he's made good progress there. And Kurt Fazekas currently runs in the, he's quite a long way down the order, actually. Not whether he had a drama in this race, but it's Rob Ferriel who's in 2nd place now. Kurt Fazekas, he didn't start the race. Okay, fine. He had a good run yesterday. He missed the 2 races at VIR, but had a good, strong run yesterday, but not taking part in today's race. So it's Rob Ferriel who's running 2nd in the class. There's a number 18 car, Richard Edge, and he is racing this weekend with a very heavy heart. His niece Sarah was tragically killed in a road crash just a week or so ago, and our sympathies to the entire Edge family there. But he's got stickers on the side to proclaim the memory of Sarah, and she was a budding racing driver in her own right, and she was being coached by a vastly experienced driver in Randy Popst, and that was a sad loss to the entire racing community. She'll be missed.
Tough weekend for Richard. He's doing with what he can with the opportunity here at Laguna Seca.
And running nicely there now in the 4th position. He had to give best to his teammate there, but it's certainly been a good run for Richard.
That's Metney, the Masters class leader, running 5th overall, right behind that black and gold car of McAllister. Here's top 3 again. Better lap for DeAngelis, cut a couple of tenths off. Kingsley another 4+ seconds back. And then there's the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Gomez back in 7th in that pink car.
Yeah, and he's clinging on to those 2 white cars ahead of the iFly car of Alan Metney right behind Riley Dickinson. And Metney is just super good on the brakes. That's where he makes up a lot of the ground there. It's going to be awfully difficult for Riley Dickinson to find a way past him.
And Alan Metney will say thank you very much. I'll take the 2 car length gap. and relax for just a moment.
Finally, a little bit of a breather there for Alan Metni. Yeah, he'll be looking in his mirror thinking, goodness me, that's good news. Right, okay, now, focus forward for Alan Metni. If he can turn a couple of good laps now, maybe while these two are battling behind him, he can pull away just a little bit.
Well, for Alan Metni, the job is not done yet, but that's what his design was this year. He wants to fight with the youngers. He's held off a couple of young bulls there.
Yeah, he has. He's done a really, really fine job as well. And not too far behind these two is Chris Bellomo in car number 63. He's made his debut this weekend in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. He's driving one of the more speed cars, so he's teammates with Riley Dickinson, who's directly ahead of him. And Chris Bellomo from Portola Valley, California, trying to track down that pair ahead of him.
And that's just right here. That's just a few miles away. Down the hill again. Gomez hanging on to that 6th position right now. Well, Metni checks out just a little bit more. Look at that. He's extended that gap to more like 6 or 7 car lengths.
Yeah, I think these two are slowing them down just a little bit at the moment. Those defensive tactics from Victor Gomez. It's going to be frustrating here for Riley Dickinson because he knows he's got a faster car. He qualified on the front. That's a great exit he's made there to turn 11. And we'll see now whether he can keep that overlap and make the pass before they get to turn 2. No, he can't.
Gomez cleared him again, so he can now move and choose which line he wants to take. Dickinson looks outside, tries to swing around inside. Turn 2, the hairpin will stay right on the tail of Gomez. And try to get the preferred exits to 5 and 6 for the run up the hill.
Yeah, Victor Gomez here, he needs to focus forward a little bit. He's slowing up both of these two now. Before, they were both catching Alan Metni and putting Alan Metni under an awful lot of pressure, but with this defensive driving from Victor Gomez, he's allowing Metni to pull away, and I'm sure his team owner, Ramiz Wahab, who's got a huge amount of experience. He's raced these cars himself some years ago. A lot of success at that NGT Motorsports team. He'll be on the radio to Victor saying, look, just concentrate on your race. Don't worry about the guy behind him. Just drive your race, turn some good laps, and try and catch up again to Alan Metni ahead of you.
Follow the leader this time through the corkscrew. Meanwhile, the top 2 have checked out just a little bit. DeAngelis is hanging in the same general vicinity that he's been as far as a gap is concerned, but Kingsley has fallen well out of range. Here you look back to how Gomez was able to get that position. So Dickinson looked around the outside and opened the door.
Well, once again, I think it was a little mistake once again there from Alan Metni going through his bogey corner, turn 6. And I think Riley Dickinson, he had to lift off as well. And that was what gave Victor Gomez the opportunity to get alongside him, heading up the Bobby Rahal straight to the corkscrew. So I think that was Alan that kind of caused that little melee between these two. But they all got away with it. And now Metni is, he's got his head down now and he's concentrating on trying to catch that car ahead of him, because Sean McAllister is only about 3 seconds ahead of him in car number 11 in the 4th position, and Metni certainly would like to catch up with him.
Max Root has been in control from pole, trying to sweep the weekend. At WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, he's looking for win number 4 in a row and trying to keep his championship hopes alive. The best battle on the track has been for 5th, 6th, and 7th position. The pink car of Victor Gomez the 4th, running in 6th. Right behind him is Riley Dickinson in 7th. Alan Metni has gapped them by just a couple of seconds. There he is in the 99 car up ahead. Just a beautiful weekend at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Thanks for joining us with Jeremy Shaw. I'm Kevin Lee. Max Root won the pole. It wasn't so straightforward yesterday. He's led every lap so far today, but he had to battle Roman DeAngelis to win race number 1.
Yeah, he did for most of the race yesterday. He was under intense pressure. It was only in the closing stages that Roman DeAngelis kind of burned off his tires a little bit, that Max Root was able to pull away and eventually get a pretty comfortable victory.
We're just past the halfway point in this one, so far from done in a no pit stop race, a sprint race. Yeah, the lead may be between 1.5 and 2 seconds, but what are you in the last 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah, and you know, it had come down by a tenth, maybe a tenth of a second or so per lap for 3 or 4 laps, and DeAndre's got that gap down to under 1.5 seconds. It's now crept out a little bit more than that over the last time around this 2.238 mile racetrack. But DeAndre certainly hasn't given up yet, and he's running a good pace. Both of the leaders are running nice and consistently at this stage in the race. He looks super smooth coming out of that corner. Maxwell Root in the lead of this race. He's just driving with so much confidence now. The 20-year-old from San Diego. He's a student at Pepperdine University, so just a couple of 3 hours down the coastline here, studying business administration, and he's got a big future ahead of him, in or out of the race car.
The automatic timing and scoring sometimes messes with what we're seeing, but Max Root is still in front, and that'll recycle in just a moment, unless he's gone off somewhere that we didn't see. There you go. I think it was just a glitch in timing and scoring. So if you're watching that on the left side, and if you're a Max Root fan, you're wondering, what happened to my driver? Why is he dropping like a rock? Just a little glitch in the system. So Root is still in charge, 1.5 seconds up.
Yeah, of which there's a lot of Root fans here this weekend, and he's certainly delivering the goods so far. So is Sebastian Corrado there in that 10th position overall and leading the Gold Cup category. But now having dropped back a little bit after that run onto the dirt in the exit of turn 6, Riley Dickinson once again caught right up with Victor Gomez, the 4th, and he's going to try once again to get a run off the hairpin here. He's certainly got an overlap here, has Riley Dickinson, and he's going to make that move. I don't think there's much now that Victor Gomez can do to keep the white car of Riley Dickinson behind him. Super pass there for Riley Dickinson. But look, there's Chris Bellomo in that number 63 car right behind this pair now.
Quite a debut weekend for the hometown driver, Chris Bellomo, with a chance to move up a couple of positions. He's loving this opportunity. That's what's so fantastic about sports car racing and the single make classes in IMSA. It's allowing people with a dream to get out and do what they've always wanted to do, and they take it seriously and they're good at it. Maybe they haven't done it their whole life, but there are opportunities to compete against people at your level.
Yeah, absolutely right. You know, Chris Plummer, his main business, his real life is real estate, but he's been racing for the last couple of years only, mainly Porsches on the West Coast. He was actually racing here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in a West Coast series last weekend, so he's got plenty of relevant track time, recent track time experience here as Chris Bellomo, but he's taking full advantage of that, and to run second in the Masters class at this level is pretty impressive for his first weekend in this championship.
Well, looky here up front, the game is starting to change just a little bit. It's been 1.6 to 2 seconds, now down to 1.3 seconds. That doesn't sound like that big of a difference, but just visually, Roman DeAngelis is almost there.
He is, and he's going to get his tail up now. He knows he's edging closer. You can see as a driver when you're following somebody, you're used to following them. He's been following them now for the last 19 laps of this race, the last half an hour. So he knows where the car in front of him is when he turns into a corner, let's say. So he knows he's got a little bit closer now, and he's got his gander up, and he's going to try and reduce that deficit some more. But by the same token, Maxwell Root, he'll look in his mirrors and he will be able to see that Roman DeAngelis has made just a little bit of inroads into his lead, and he'll be anxious not the line to get any closer.
Yeah, that's more of a mental thing. You start seeing him in your mirrors, and you start maybe puckering a little bit, trying not to make a mistake. For pure lap time, though, is it easier for a driver to put down fast laps just thinking about himself, all by himself on the track, or is it better to have a rabbit out in front of you?
It's always cool to have a rabbit out in front of you. You can match yourself by what he's doing. You can break just a fraction later, but if you get too fixated on what he's doing, then the chance of you making a mistake are fairly high as well. And that is exactly what Roman DeAngelis will be trying not to do right now. But Roman DeAngelis, I mean, look, he's only 18 years of age, but he's been driving Porsches now for 3 full seasons. A former Gold Cup champion, and he's going to be, unless something very strange happens, he's going to win the overall championship this season. So he's got a lot of experience in these cars. That's Roman DeAngelis, the chaser at the moment.
And there's another young Canadian from Ajax near Toronto. And Jeff Kingsley running in third position for JDX Racing right now, the Rookie of the Year in the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge Canada last year.
Yeah, Jeff Feds, he's had several good finishes already this season. He started off at Sebring, the first 2 races of the championship, with a couple of top 5 results, and he's had a couple of second place finishes are his best.
Oh boy,
looking to do the same again. Wow,
look at this. Well, they're there.
They are.
Now, that was because of lap traffic. So it might be because they were getting around Efren Castro. We saw him a little bit ahead, so that's what allowed Roman DeAngelis to catch up. Max Root obviously caught the lap car at the wrong spot, one of the Gold Cup cars, but now Roman DeAngelis is right there, battling for the lead with under 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Efren Castro, one of the Gold Cup contenders, not only his first visit to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, his first visit to California. He's absolutely loving the experience here, and just gaining experience. This is his first season of racing as well, but these 2 at the front now, wow, it's game on, isn't it? With 13 minutes remaining in this race, everything to play for.
So you have controlled the race by over 1.5 seconds. How do you have to switch on if you're Max Root when you thought maybe I'm home free, and now all of a sudden, uh-oh, this is going to be a dogfight with a guy who's won 9 races this year right behind me?
That's exactly right there, and the answer to that is focus forward. He knows that car is fast. Wright Motorsports have given a really, really good car this weekend. He's full of confidence right now with 3 wins in a row coming into this 14th round of the championship, so he knows he can get the job done. If he doesn't focus too much on his mirrors, he should be fine, but certainly the pressure is on right now.
Through turn 2, the hairpin. They're going to catch him by the time they get to the next straightaway, if not before. I'm sorry, that's DeAngelis. Dickinson back in the he slipped back in the 6th position. That's where he's been running and battling with Victor Gomez. And now, through traffic, DeAngelis with an opportunity, side by side, trying to use the pick. Root will maintain the position for now.
Yeah, and I'm afraid the slower car there is just not paying attention to his mirrors, and he really needs to watch out. He's got cars behind. That's a teammate for Roman DeAngelis there, number 48 car, David Brule, and he's not done a good job there, and he's impeded the leader, and he's allowed Roman DeAngelis to take the lead, but Maxwell Root, he's going to come right back at him at the corkscrew, side by side. Whoa!
And DeAngelis will stay in front. Root took a look to the inside. DeAngelis had the preferred position and a lead change. 3/4 of the way through the race, Roman DeAngelis has been tracking down and chasing Max Root all race long. Lap traffic got him back within range. Lap traffic helped him to the lead. Now he's got to deal with lap traffic. Can Max Root use the pick to get back to the front?
Yeah, we'll see Manuel Rafael. He's going to, I think, no, he's not, is he? He doesn't give him any room at all down the inside.
Oh boy.
Heading down to Mario Andretti hairpin.
Will he stay wide enough for Root to go with him?
Sort of is the answer there. Yes, I think he did. So he enables both of those two. He didn't make it easy for either of them, but the good news is he didn't inconvenience one more than the other, I think.
So now you know Max Root has the red mist inside the helmet.
Yeah.
He's got to refocus.
Well, I mean, he knows that was one of Roman DeAngelis' teammates. Oh, there's a Riley Dickinson there making a very forceful pass of Alan Metney down under braking at turn 2.
So Dickinson has made his way back up inside the top 5. Metney loses a position. He's still the Masters class leader. Victor Carazzo has control right now in the Gold Cup. He's up by 15 seconds on Rob Ferriel, looking to move to another win. And we are well inside 10 minutes remaining here in race 2 of the weekend from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca.
Good job there by Richard Edge to get out of the way of the leaders coming through the corkscrew. Bill Smith is the next car ahead of the leaders. He's pretty experienced in these cars as well, so I can't see him getting in the way. But certainly Roman DeAngelis there, he grasped that opportunity to take the lead. And he will be absolutely thrilled with that. But he's still got 8 minutes remaining in this race, so the work is not done yet.
The Gold Cup leader, Victor Carazzo, looking to win for the 10th time this season. This is the second straight weekend of IMSA sports car racing at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. This is not a part of the WeatherTech Championship weekend. That was last weekend. This is a part of the IndyCar weekend with various other classes.
Yeah.
Mazda MX-5 Cup was here this weekend, along with the Road to Indy. And just a fantastic opportunity for fans to come out here and spend a week and a half and see top flight racing 2 weekends in a row at this glorious facility.
Yeah, it has been absolutely tremendous, and they had bumper crowds both weekends as well. They had glorious weather throughout, and it's just been a tremendous speed weeks here, if you like, at WeatherTech Raceway. Rod Ferriero, second place in the Gold Cup Championship and in the race at the moment. He's quite a long way behind Sebastian Corrado, and I spoke to Rob this morning, and he finished a pretty distant second yesterday. Wasn't really happy with the balance of the car, so they made some changes to that car coming into this race, hoping it would be better, but it doesn't seem to have made much difference. He's still running, though, in a good second place.
Bert Swearinger, third in Gold Cup. Ferriero finished second in the championship last year, but this year got his first wins. That's a couple of wins already.
He did, and he's done well this season, and his regular driver coach is Spencer Pompelli, who's not here this weekend. Spencer racing elsewhere in the country, so instead Earl Bamber is stepping in to do the driver coach duties at Moore Speed this weekend, and Rod Ferriero taking full advantage of Earl Bamber's experience.
That's not too bad.
It's not, is it? Earl Bamber's not a bad stand-in.
Well, look at the gap that Roman DeAngelis has spread out. Max Root has been in charge of this race the entire time, loses the advantage and the lead through lap traffic, and DeAngelis has gapped him. What changed? It's one thing to lose the lead, but I would have thought he might have been able to stay with him and take another run at him.
Yeah, I'm sure that was his plan, and it looked like he'd been driving pretty smoothly, looking after the tires. Here's a replay of what happened as Max Root dives to the inside under braking for the corkscrew.
So that's after the lead had been given up, and he got one more chance going into 6. Tried to dive in. Very tough, though, to get it back down and in position. And the outside is the more preferred position.
I think Max Root was really pretty respectful there. He kind of could have pushed the envelope more and made it more difficult for Roman DeAngelis. He tried to just kind of pinch the corner in order not to make contact between those two.
After this weekend, one more weekend as part of Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, October 11th and 12th. Porsche GT3 Cup will race on Thursday and Friday of that weekend, and then the 10-hour race for the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship will be on Saturday and live starting on NBC and also on NBCSN and the NBC Sports app throughout the day on Saturday.
That's going to be another tremendous weekend of racing. Petit Le Mans, just a wonderful event to finish off the season at a classic racetrack at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. I think Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta is to the east coast what WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is to the west. Whoops, there's a big off. That's the exit of turn 3. Oops, that's Juan Manuel Fayenne again. He's had a couple of incidents this afternoon. Got together, it looks like, with Richard Edge.
Oh, and significant damage to both of those cars.
Chris Bellomo had a spin too. It looks like a different place on the racetrack, however. This is going to bring out the safety car. Quite likely the race will end under safety car. That's a shame. Yeah, the full course caution has been called, so the pace will be cut. But with only 3.5 minutes remaining, unless Juan Manuel can get that number 19 car out of the middle of the racetrack, I think the chances of going back green again are not great, unfortunately.
No chance with a full course yellow, and it's always a shame to see a race end under yellow. The only caveat would be is it didn't appear to me like Max Root was going to have anything to make up that gap. We were down to 2 or 3 laps remaining, and he was still almost 2 seconds behind. So it looks like it's not going to change the outcome of this race. That happened about 10 minutes ago when DeAngelis got the lead. His ability to make it through and make up the gap through lap traffic and then take the lead in lap traffic is going to put him out in front. So safety car is out with under 3 minutes remaining.
Yeah, we had a nice clean and green race yesterday all the way through the 45 minutes, but unfortunately this incident is going to bring out the safety car. So we can see what the
look that we have, and it already started there.
Yeah, those two obviously got together coming through turn 3 for some reason. And That's most unfortunate. So heavy contact there, it looks like, for Juan Manuel Fayen from Venezuela. And Richard Edge from Roswell, Georgia, both of those two cars out of the race.
So Roman DeAngelis is going to move another step closer, and this is about going to get the job done for him in the championship.
Yeah.
Even though Root only finishes one position behind what Max Root needs, he needs wins, and he needs DeAngelis to finish way back in the pack. 1, 2, in whatever order isn't going to get it done for Max Root.
No, and I think probably just Roman DeAngelis, all he's going to need to do at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta is to start both of the races, and that will probably be enough, even if Maxwell Root were to win them both.
Make sure you make your flight and get there. And your chances are quite good for wrapping up a championship. So they'll stay under the safety car. And I have not seen whether they gave the white the last time by, or if they're going to pace one more time.
There was a white flag wave, but that could have just have been for the course, the safety vehicles out on the racetrack. So we'll wait and see which flag is brandished. They're only a quarter of a mile or so from the start-finish line, but with less than a minute remaining, we're certainly not going to be going back to green.
The field is back on the main straightaway, and they are going to see a white flag, so they're going to pace behind the safety car one more time.
Yeah, it's questionable as to whether they might have just thrown a flag early, but no, look, these are 45-minute races, and you never know when somebody might run out of fuel on the last lap. So I guess that's why the officials would be making sure the race does run its prescribed minimum of 45 minutes. As Juan Manuel Fayen is helped out of that car, but he seems to be okay, I think, and I'm sure they're very disappointed because there's a lot of damage to that number 19 car.
That is expensive. So Roman DeAngelis bounces back after he had dominated the start of this season, winning 9 of the first 10. He's probably thinking, what's going on here with someone else winning the last 3 races? This has been a good answer for him. Maybe a little bit of help to get to the front, but then he showed the pace to pull away and lock it up, and that's what he did in the few laps after he moved to the lead.
Well, he really did, and for Roman DeAngelis, he had a couple of wins last season, moving up to the platinum category for the first time. Finished second in the championship 1 year ago to Trenton Estep, but this year he's learned hugely from all the experience he gained last year in this Gen 2 Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car, and he's used it to maximum benefit this year for that Kelly Moss Road and Race team.
So this is capping off a fantastic weekend at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. This is the final event of the weekend after the IndyCar race today, the road to Indy, and so many other festivities, and caps off, as you say, Speed Week with last year's IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
Yes, it really has been a tremendous festival of motor racing here over the last couple of weekends, and we've had fantastic weather, big crowds for both weekends as well, and some great drives in all different categories, and certainly in the platinum category this weekend, honours kind of shared between Maxwell Root and Roman DeAngelis.
And to the line, seeing the checkered flag under caution, Roman DeAngelis wins for the 10th time in 2019 and all but wraps up the Porsche GT3 Cup Platinum Championship. And Victor Carazzo.
Well judged performance there for Roman DeAngelis. He took his opportunity when he had it, and he comes away with yet another victory.
Max Root comes home in second. Kingsley, McAllister, Dickinson, the top 5. Alan Medney is going to win the Masters class. He finishes in 6th position overall. And there's Victor Carazzo, who wins again in Gold Cup. And for Carazzo, he also has 10 wins in class on the season.
Yeah, for the NGT Motorsport team, young Sebastian from Puerto Rico. It's his first full season of racing, and he's come on by leaps and bounds this season. A really good performance by him, and yet another well-deserved victory. Second in the category in Gold Cup is Rob Ferriol, and they will maintain those positions in the championship. And for the second day running, Kurt Swearingen will finish in third place for the ACI Motorsports team.
Should also mention Fred Pordad, who is going to finish second in Masters. He got the Masters win yesterday after Metney had the mistake on track, and Fred Pordad has had a really solid season. He's second in the Masters Championship. The doctor from San Antonio. He's a physician and the VP of Academic and Medical Affairs at the Texas Liver Institute, and also a professor of medicine.
Yeah, liver specialist there is Dr. Pordad, and a very accomplished driver as well. That was his fourth win of the season in the Masters class yesterday, so it's been a really good weekend for him. And he, like Alan Metney, have really raised their game. I mean, he has a huge amount of experience in his cars, Fred Pordad. This is his 79th start in this championship. He made his debut all the way back right here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca back in 2011, a former Masters champion. But today he has to give second best in that Masters category to Alan Metney.
You see all those handprints on the car of Roman DeAngelis. They support the Children's Hospital of Alabama, the Kelly Moss Road and Race team, and the Racing for Children's program. And the entire team has done great work in that area, and that's what that signifies. And a lot of kids, a lot of adults happy from the Kelly Moss Road and Race program today.
Yeah, so that's very cool, and looking for a second championship, because Jacob Edson won the championship a couple of years ago in exactly those same colors.
A chance for a sweep by Max Roots. Roman DeAngelis led both days, and getting into the final time in race number 2 gets him to victory lane. That's where he's headed, coming up in just a moment. Back at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca with Jeremy Shaw, I'm Kevin Lee. This is the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. So it's win number 10 on the season for Roman DeAngelis. Let's hear from the winner to victory lane.
It was pretty important to get that one off my chest. Max had a really good run there with 3 races in a row. We had a tire go in Virginia, and then I made a mistake myself, race 2. Then yesterday he just outpaced us. So I think it shows a lot that, coming into the weekend, the guys or myself had never been here, but the guys never with the new Gen 2 GT3 Cup car. So we put in a lot of work last night to try to figure out what the issues were from yesterday, and clearly it paid off for us.
So Roman DeAngelis wins under caution. He had built up about a 1.5 second advantage. Got it done. Jeff Kingsley gets the final spot on the podium. Sean McAllister comes home in 4th. Riley Dickinson battled for 5th, 6th, and 7th all day long. He comes home with the final spot there, just ahead of the Masters winner of the day, the 99 of Alan Metney. And Carazzo wins for the 10th time in Gold Cup, finishing ahead of Rob Ferriol. That's how the championship is, 1-2 with Carazzo in front. So 1 weekend, 2 rounds remaining in 2019, and Roman DeAngelis has pretty much a stranglehold on the Platinum Championship on Max Roop. And in Gold Cup, it remains Sebastian Corrado, and he also is in charge, and will be able to wrap up the championship when they get to Road Atlanta in just a few weeks. Rob Ferriol remains in 2nd. It's DeAngelis, Roots, and Kingsley on the podium. Alan Metney wins the Masters class, and Sebastian Corrado wins in Gold Cup. Thanks for joining us. For Jeremy Shaw, I'm Kevin Lee.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.